Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler. Surrounded by most, but not all, of the Doctrinaires. Tim Andrews has the day off. Autumn Fisher is with us. And, of course, the handsomest producer in all of producery, Jared Yamamoto.
What's going on, Eric?
Well, a lot's going on. As I just, one thing is for sure. Can we get some leaders who can speak? Is it too much to ask that I understand what in the world the Speaker of the House is?
What's wrong? You didn't understand me?
I think I got the idea that you're going to move forward with articles of impeachment. I think I got that out of there.
Well, then you can understand me perfectly.
Well, and something about why is it that Nancy Pelosi always believes that we all need a civics lesson on who wrote the Constitution and the Declaration?
That's right.
Were you there?
Thomas
Actually,
Jefferson.
It turns out that you were there. No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No?
It wasn't who did the Constitution. No.
What's that, Hamilton?
The Declaration of. Oh no, that was a great show there. But
yeah.
So, do you have?
Wasn't into play.
Yeah, obviously the big news that came out of that presser this morning.
Hold on, before you play this, is it really big news? Did anybody think for a moment?
Surprise.
Yeah. What was that again, Nancy?
Surprise.
I don't think anybody surprised about this because there was never. I'm surprised that kangaroo court came to this conclusion. Why would you be surprised? So I'm supposed to believe that yesterday, these constitutional so-called experts, I'm supposed to, in order to be surprised, I got to buy the idea that yesterday it was possible that there are some Democrats on that panel who would hear what they had to say and go, hey, you know what? This blows my mind. I'm changing. We're not going to. This has just been processed. We knew where this was going. So let's at least be honest from the media point of view. Nancy Pelosi said nothing that was a surprise a few moments ago. It may have been a surprise that she said it today rather than tomorrow or next week, but I'm not surprised because the Von Haessler Doctrine is here to help you navigate your way through the reality of the world. And Eric Von Haessler said some weeks ago that this is going to be a rush job. I believe I said by articles of impeachment being passed by the House by December 15th. And it looks like we're on that glide path. What's the reason why? Well, you know, you can get out of your emotional corner from the left or the right every once in a while, engage in reason, put some objectivity in there, and you will know more than anyone around you without consulting anyone, just using your eyeballs. Get out of the emotion. We have the Iowa Caucuses coming up. When is that? Early February, late January, somewhere in there? I'm not exactly sure.
I think it's the first week of February.
Okay, so you got to have a trial in the Senate. You can't have a trial in the Senate until you vote for impeachment in the House. Two of the top main people that are running for president are what, Jared Yamamoto? Bernie Sanders and
Elizabeth Warren.
What are they?
They are senators.
They cannot explain to the world why they're not there at the trial. The longer they're at the trial, guess where they're not in the weeks leading up to the Iowa caucuses?
Not on the campaign trail.
They're not in Iowa.
Uh-oh.
So, you see, it's not, you do not have to listen to your favorite radio host or whichever 24-hour news channel just feeds you all the information you knew you wanted before you turned it on. You can actually set that stuff aside, objectively look at things, and know how things are going to go. I said from the very beginning, they're going to impeach him. He's not going to be removed from the Senate. And then, yes, obviously, they're going to move quickly because they don't want Warren and Sanders bogged down in the month of January in Washington, D.C., rather than in Iowa, trying to become the next president of the United States. So you can have what she says here. Yeah.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
Hold on. To me, I heard I'm asking them to besiege the articles of impeachment.
No, to proceed.
Besiege?
No,
the
proceed.
There's 330.
Repeat after me,
Proceed.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
330 million people in this country. I recognize some are on the left or some are on the right. All I ask for is to be able to understand somebody on either side.
Listen, I'll give you the examples of why we're doing this, okay?
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
He's jeopardized our national safety.
He's what? He's
jeopardized our national security.
Okay, how did that happen?
Because
was a bomb dropped somewhere?
No.
Is Des Moines
he talked to Russia. It's not very nice. Okay, number two.
This isn't even about Russia. It's not. It's about
because
Ukraine.
of the elections. He's talking to them.
It's not even out. See,
interfere with our elections.
Hey, can we stop you for just one moment? I'm going to tell you why there's a good chance that this doesn't work. Now, maybe it does work because we don't know where we're going to be next year. Come election time, we could be in a shooting war. The economy could have gone south, or it could be all peace and the economy's doing even better. We have no idea what things are going to look like in a year. So, but my guess is the reason that this isn't going to work, it's not very difficult for me, and I'm not even a political creature, to come up with commercials about this. So supposedly he's being impeached because of a phone call made in July of this year, right? July 25th with the president of Ukraine. But there was an election. Remember when the Democrats took over the House last year?
Yeah.
Right? When was that election? That was November 8th or thereabout.
Yeah,
Usually,
right around
whatever.
there.
First Tuesday of whatever was last year. Well, when Rashid Tlaib won, remember? So I'm assuming this is election night or the day after. So this is last November, 2018. And what did she say?
Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach them.
Okay. That was last November, and the phone call that he's being impeached for didn't happen until July 25th of this year. So how difficult is it to create the argument that they just hate this guy and they were going to impeach him no matter what? Tlaib was like, I'm a yes vote on impeachment. I don't care what the articles say. I don't care what they're talking. I'm just, whatever it is. If you want to impeach him because he was caught jaywalking in the middle of D.C., I'm there. This was the first thing she said.
Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach them.
For things that he's going to do next July. I don't think that's going to sell.
She's a fortune teller, Eric.
That's what it is. She's a soothsayer.
She was very energized by the crowd.
Could you say soothsayer? Could you say soothsayer?
She's a soothsayer.
She's a soothsayer.
Soothsayer. She took an oath of office. An oath of office.
How about this lady?
She's a good girl. She's gonna follow the rules. Don't worry.
How about these serious people yesterday? The constitutional, the so-called experts. Boy, you know what? You really have to look at yourself in the mirror. And first of all, I'm not even saying who's right or who's wrong. But what you need to understand is that 63 million people in this country voted for this guy to be president. That's a fact. And you're coming along and saying, well, there's a group of people in D.C. that don't think he's a proper president. Don't you think that bar, that standard ought to be very high? The standard shouldn't be, wow, man, CNN, those reporters are really excited today. That shouldn't be the standard. The standard should be, how would I want my president that I voted for treated in a similar situation? That should always be the standard. It should always be the people out of power who protect the people in power in America because they understand that one day soon they will be in power and they want those same protections. This is an absurdity we're looking at, and I'm not even talking about whether Trump is right or wrong. I'm just talking about the United States of America. It was a beautiful place that I grew up in, Jared, and if you ask me about it, I'll tell you about it sometime. It was a great, great country at one point.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
The Von Haessler Doctrine.
He's extremely funny, he's got a great sense of humor, and he brings a lot of good content to the air.
On 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I gotta watch myself today. I'm in a little bit of a mood because I don't believe in being. I think I've told you this. I don't believe in that. People always got the common cold. I don't even believe there's any such thing, and I think I appear to have contracted one. I have something going on, and that's annoying me.
You have the upper class cold.
Yes, there's nothing common about this body.
Yes, the elite cold.
This head is not common, that's for sure.
Well, you sure
I can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear my battle.
Yeah.
You sure sound better than Nancy Pelosi did. I mean, she could have waited till tomorrow. I mean, she sounded awful up there.
Did she have the cold as well?
It sounded like she did. It sounded like she had some sniffles or something.
I have a lot to say.
The rotavirus.
What's that? Excuse me?
You got the rotavirus.
The Warnovirus.
Rotavirus.
The rotavirus.
Is
that what it is?
Virus.
Okay.
Retroactive virus.
Then they got people yelling at us. A guy on the open mic is like, all I know is like,
know your listeners.
Who's this guy?
Oh, yeah, here's his full open mic that he left us
I got
yesterday.
something. You got to watch me here because sometimes I lash out too much. This is one of my problems. I'm trying to work on this. People tell me how great I am all the time. That ought to be enough for me. It's okay for somebody to come along and say, I don't dig it. So I'm going to take a little break here. But a step back.
This guy's very upset with us.
And then we'll listen to the good listener, and we will deconstruct what he has to say. Or she. I don't know how he or she identifies. We'll find out what they have to say.
Know your listeners.
Oh, shut up. So it says here, Clark Howard's Christmas Kids begins today at the Walmart in Dunwoody. I just call it Clark's Christmas Kids. But Pete Spriggs says, well, every once in a while you want to throw in Howard. So it's Clark's Christmas Kids. The Clark in question, well, everybody's favorite, Clark Howard. Clark's Christmas Kids begins today at the Walmart in Dunwoody. You know we do this every year, 95.5 WSB. The annual campaign is to basically, we, all of us, the community of WSB, those on air, those behind the scenes, those who listen, get together to make sure that all of Georgia's foster kids wake up on Christmas Day with presents under the tree. And so this is easy. Today, you can, Clark and Mark Aram will be along with Eric Erickson, Wes Moss, and Governor Kemp at the Walmart on Ashford Dunwoody. That'll start at 2. It'll go to 7. All your favorites will be there at 3. But if you can't be there at 3 and you just want to go pick up a shopping list and shop and buy presents for a foster kid, you can start doing that at 2. If you're not familiar with how this works, it's a wonderful thing and you want to be a part of it. Because nothing against anybody who collects toys for anybody. Their heart is in the right place, and I'm all for it. I don't care who you give to. The way we do it is a little bit different. We not only make sure that these kids have toys, we make sure that they have toys that they have requested. So you show up at the Walmart, you pick out a list, a boy, a girl, maybe both, and there are 3 items there. You're not obligated to buy all 3 items. We make sure that in the end, the child gets as many items as possible. But you get a shopping list. You know exactly who this child is, what their age is, and what they would like. And you go shop, then you leave it right there with us and WSB and St. Vincent de Paul, the good people there, make sure, along with DFACS, that by Christmas morning, it gets to the child that you shopped for. We have about 11,000 foster kids we need to take care of and make whole this Christmas. Is this the 29th year?
That's right.
29th year. And we will get this done, mostly because of Clark Howard, but also because of the excitement and the mood and energy that surrounds this project every year here, and the way, most importantly, I would say, the way the listeners respond. So it all gets started today. It'll go on for a couple of weeks. I will be joining Clark tomorrow at the Roswell Walmart on Mansell Road at 3, from 3 to 5.
And the complete schedule, Eric, is all on WSBRadio.com and the WSB Radio app. So you could look for a Walmart near you, too, because we're going to be out and about the next couple of weeks out there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Before we move to the next segment, which I think is the first segment, headlines, Nancy Pelosi stepped on my opening.
Today, I'm asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
To besiege. We have to besiege with the
We have to
articles.
proceed.
Yeah, okay.
Proceed. I don't know why you have trouble with it.
But first, I got to deal with this guy. We got.
Know your listeners.
Yes. Now I got to be careful with this because I'm coming down with some kind of cold, and that makes me mad. And so I don't want to lash out too much just because this is, one person.
Because you're a little grouchy?
Yeah, I
grumpy?
might be a little bit grumpy. I get angry when I get mad. I mean, I get angry when I get mad. Who doesn't?
Makes sense.
Hey, now who can't
I get
talk, right?
angry when I get sick.
Now I have trouble saying so.
I'm getting your virus.
I get angry when I get mad.
I get angry when I start to get sick because I just think of all the things that I have to do and I don't want to be sick. So I'm going to try not to lash out at this guy. Is this an open mic?
Yeah, he left this on the
Let it rip.
WSB radio app.
You guys just need to drop Rush, Sean, Eric Erickson, everybody that's conservative, because your station is not conservative. All you're doing is pissing off all the conservatives because of your stupid bumpers in between these excellent talk show hosts. Know your listeners.
Know your listeners.
Know your listeners.
Now, are you taking this as a negative toward you?
No, I'm not. I get a little annoyed with this idea that people think that I'm a listener, therefore everyone who listens is me. When he says, know your listeners, I'm your listener, and everyone is just like me. No, I'm guessing it's more going, he thinks that they don't like the news coverage.
They call it bumpers. It's a new
bumpers.
insult.
Yeah. Hey, know your jargon when it comes to radio. But beyond that, some of it is because of what the von Haessler doctor does. Let me just say this, because I can't talk about it that much. But all the information is public, people. I'm not going to tell you where you have to go and where you have to look at it.
Know your listeners.
Well, guess what? If you want to know what shows on this station are actually kicking ass, all I'm saying is that information is public, and you can compare and contrast to other people that maybe you listen to on this station, and that's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to get angry. I don't want to get angry because I'm mad.
Know your listeners.
I do, better than you ever will. Let's do this.
Headlines for Thursday, December 5th.
You know, your listeners only want to tune in and hear what they knew they already knew before they tuned in.
I kind of like this angry Eric. You know what? Bring on this cold.
Bring on this cold. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Don't worry, you have a whole entire day tomorrow.
I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah.
But I'm still here. I'm dogging it through.
Do you take cold medicine?
Cold medicine for what?
Sorry.
Well, what kind of cold? I don't believe that people even understand what they mean when they say the word cold. What does that mean? Obviously, I have some sort of
nose. It feels like your head is weighs 1 billion pounds.
No, see, I'm not there yet. I just got the itchy throat and the thing that's happening there.
Yeah, the mucus.
Starting to sweat a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Don't bring up mucus. This is a family show. All right, what do you have for me, Jared?
All right, this first headline.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for Autumn Fisher.
The views and opinions expressed on the von Haessler Doctrine do not reflect the official policy or position of WSB.
Kids, mucus is not a good thing.
Such a great word.
Don't do it. You find it. It's not an onomatopoeia, but it seems like one.
It does. All right, headlines, Jared. What's your first story?
Excuse me. Hit that cough button.
Know your listeners.
I know my listeners. They like to hear sick people rant. Go ahead.
This first headline is from Newsweek. George Conway accused Melania Trump of amplifying a Nothing Burger reference after the First Lady condemned Professor.
Professor, what? Oh, the professor at one of the guys. No, it was the lady. Tallman or something like that. Was that her name?
Yes.
First of all, since I'm in a philosophic mood this morning.
Carlin. I'm sorry.
Carlin?
Professor Carlin.
Professor Carlin?
Yeah, Stanford Law Professor Pamela Carlin.
Did she write that book, Brain Droppings? No, she didn't. That was a different Carlin. This is Carlin with a K. Come on, keep up.
Oh, got it.
So, first thing you have to do, dear listener, see, I do know who I'm talking about.
Know your listeners.
All right, dear listener. Assess yourself. Why do you let your guard down when enough people tell you, point to somebody else and say that's an expert? 4 constitutional experts. Nobody asks for papers. Nobody says, how did they do in school? Nobody asks. It's a weird thing, and this has been proven. People let their guard down when someone says, that's an expert. You know, okay, well, he's an expert. He knows more. I'm not an expert. So I guess this person who's an expert, it's amazing. It's a great scam trick. is the experts. That's number one. Secondly, she looks like, it was like Terry Gross's sister. I said yesterday, all these professionals look like they piled out of an NPR clown car. Oh, we're very serious people.
Yes,
we're so serious.
yes.
We would, and
Constitutional expert.
yeah, and this one, Carlin. Now she made a reference to Barron, Donald Trump's son. The a little bit of an overreaction. Hey, you don't include the children. I heard some talk radio in the 90s when Bill Clinton was in there, and it wasn't like I didn't hear a Chelsea joke, okay? So, listen, throw stones when there isn't glass around would be the first thing. But what is truly telling about this, though, is the type of person that this is. This is a person, she's supposed to be there as a constitutional expert. As a constitutional expert on a grave matter, whether or not you're going to remove a duly elected president. But yet, she has time to kind of tell a joke that really has nothing to do with Ukraine and has more to do with her perception of Trump as a human being and as a leader. So let's get to the joke about Barron.
So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron.
See, does that sound to you like a dispassionate person who is just, I'm just all, I'm got my head buried in textbooks all day long? No, that is the type of person she would tell that joke in either of her two cocktail party circuits, one in D.C. and one in Manhattan, maybe over on Martha's Vineyard. And that would slay in that room.
I tested it out over the summer.
Yeah, your friends, all your professorial friends love your sense of humor, don't they?
They loved it.
So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron.
Get it? Get it?
I get it.
And then Melania, she's named after the place. She's not even from there.
What I don't get is what it has to do with a phone call to the president of Ukraine on July 25th.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. Anyway.
So the idea is they're constitutional experts, and they're going to come in there with this dispassionate thing. And if they were, even though it would still be insincere, if they played the game properly, they would have to pretend that even though they don't like Trump, they think that this is a bad thing for the country that we just have to do. But when you're just tossing off D.C. circuit just jokes that you'd be telling at parties in Manhattan or Martha's Vineyard, then it shows. The attitude is there. It's like when you go, I don't think that the American people care what that lady has to say. I think the American people see that lady as part of what is termed the elite and the permanent government. I don't say deep state. I'm offended by deep state. I have to be honest with you. And I don't really take people seriously. But there is a permanent governing class. It's called the bureaucracy. And what we're finding out is a lot of this talk. There's a great opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning about this, that in last week when you had all these people for the impeachment inquiries and also this week, there was a lot of talk about intra-agency. Intra-agency is not an official agency. It's a loose affiliation between the agencies, and people have power not only in their own agencies, but some people rise to the top of the intra-agency, and we decide what's good all the way around. Well, here's the problem, as pointed out by the Wall Street Journal. There's no one to hold responsible. Who's at the top of the intra-agency ladder? No one knows. Nancy Pelosi gives a civics lesson on the writing of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. I don't read the Constitution every day. I've gone through it a few times. Never saw intra-agency as something, because if you did have something that was an intra-agency, meaning we have a policy that touches a bunch of different agencies, so therefore this is going to be the policy that governs everything. If that was a thing that the founders that Pelosi's saying she loves so much cared about, they probably would have put it in the Constitution and said the leader has to get the advice and consent of the Senate before, so that we can know who the hell that is. So there's a lot going on here, and I don't think the American people are swayed by people like that Kaplan with her cocktail party
So while
joke.
the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron.
Smart and funny. See, people don't seem to understand whether you love the president or you hate the president. I know people who are in both camps. But if you care about the country, I'm surprised. Now that they said they're going to go forward with impeachment, it does kind of land a little harder for me, even though it's not news. We knew it was going to happen. But if you care for the country, people on the left who hate the president the most should be most outraged about this. Because there's going to be a Democrat president sometime, next cycle, the one after that, the one after that. And what we're witnessing here, and I go back to the Republicans in the 90s, I think this applies to Clinton as well. The von Haessler doctrine on this is anytime you impeach a president knowing that the Senate will not remove that president, that is not a valid impeachment. It is a political tool. The Republicans hated Clinton, and they couldn't. It was a lot like with Trump. They couldn't believe, to most Republicans, he was a backwater politician, scandalized, didn't deserve to be up here. And how could the people fall for this? There really was a lot of that. They didn't like the fact that he kept beating them when they knew that they knew more and that he was, in their minds, a corruption-filled, kind of guy. So it goes back to them as well. I would say the same thing about that one. The Republicans impeached Clinton knowing that the Senate was not going to remove him. Therefore, they just wanted to put a stain on his presidency because they didn't like him. Now you see it again even more so here. You're looking at impeachment as a campaign tool. The reason the impeachment is going forward is because there's a belief that will make really good political ads next October. And that should offend you. I don't care who you voted for. The country's more important than this moment. Hour 2 of the von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. People might think I'm a little bit nuts. They could be right when they hear me say that it's the most ardent haters of Donald Trump who should be most offended by this impeachment that now Nancy Pelosi has said they're going to go forward with the articles of impeachment. Oh, why would that be, Eric? Well, because, see, you don't know. You live in the world now and what we've become now. What we've become now is you're on one side, you wear that uniform all the time, and you win every 24-hour news cycle. And you don't care. You don't care what gets broken. You don't care what gets harmed. You don't care if you lose mores, culture, traditions. You don't care. You smash everything in front of you because all that matters is that you win the game today. If we know the ref got a call wrong, but we were got an advantage from it, we're cool. We're super cool with that because it just means that we win today. But in reality, if you just look out a little bit, there's going to be a Democrat president. We're getting to a point now, after the Republicans impeached Clinton, knowing that he would not be removed, and now the Democrats are going to impeach Trump, knowing that he won't be removed. That impeachment, it's not going to slow down now. Right? It was only done twice in the first almost 200 years of the country. Now here we are again, 20 years later. And an awful lot of people on the left, everybody pretends this didn't happen. There was a lot of trial balloons about George W. Bush and whether we should impeach him. That was a big conversation. I don't remember any talk about it with Obama, but it's getting to the point now where it's not going to slow down. So in your country, impeachment has now become a campaign tool, something that might help us win. Because again, let's go back to who we are now. And I'm condemning both sides, left and right. Let's go back to who we are now. Win today at all cost. If there's something to be suffered from it, deal with it tomorrow. But you won't notice because you'll be too busy trying to win tomorrow at all cost. Awful lot of people who listen to this show can't stand the ACLU because they're seen as lining up on liberal sides all the time. One of the things the ACLU does, whether it's cynical or not, or whether it comes from their actual mission statement, is that they do take up large conservative causes from time to time. I remember the ACLU fighting in favor of Ollie North at one point. It pins them back down to say, no, it's really about civil liberties to us. Now we all know how most people in the ACLU vote, but at least they're smart enough to understand. Every once in a while, we got to rack up a good conservative case here in order to be taken seriously. You cannot be taken seriously as a citizen who says you care if your caring stops at whether or not your side wins the 24-hour news cycle. That is not legitimate. It makes you part of the wider population. More of you than me, that's for sure. But as I often point out, Hitler was pretty popular. Popularity of position does not mean it's a good idea. Now, this is not Hitler, and I don't really like when throwing those references around. I'm not saying anybody's Hitler. I'm just saying, if you're going to base it on popularity, that's not the way to go.
You're saying it's like Beanie Babies when we were a couple, back in the 90s, right? Beanie Babies were popular for a while.
Did Hitler go after them as well?
He went after everybody.
Oh, man, it's just unfolding. It never ends. The horror to this guy. I knew there was a lot of melees going on in the shopping at the time.
He was there.
If you care about politics, it should start with the country first. This is going to be the second time a president gets impeached because the ruling class, the permanent government, the people in power hated the president and couldn't stand the fact that the president kept winning with the people. Because people are so much in their own silos, not many people would even understand that you could actually draw a parallel between Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. But you can. Republicans who had been politicians their whole lives, in their mind, in their heart of hearts, they thought, this guy's a hack, this Bill Clinton, backwater politician, scandalized, totally corrupt. And yet, from their point of view, the Republicans in the 90s, and he keeps fooling the people into voting for him and agreeing with him. And how can he be so popular when we know what he really is? Well, you know what the Republicans decided in the 90s? These Americans may be duped, but historians in 150 years are going to know, hey, take this with you. See that eye we put on you? Take that with you. Take that into history so that history knows that that the Republicans didn't agree. Think of that in the 90s. Take that eye with you, Bill Clinton, so that history knows that the ruling Republicans at the time, the elected Republicans, didn't agree with the American people. Because Bill Clinton may have been able to win a third term after that. Al Gore made a mistake by distancing himself, I think. Now we have the same thing. He just reversed the parties. And then more. Eric, why is this illegitimate? Having nothing to do whether you love the president or hate the president. It's illegitimate because I think everyone knows that if you just changed the parties, all of the players would argue the other side. If this was Barack Obama and you had the phone call and things were held up, I think you could have exactly the same situation, just that all the players involved would be saying the opposite thing. What does that tell you? This is about power. This is not about enough with the civics lessons from Nancy Pelosi on the founders and the Constitution. Oh, with the founders in mind. Oh, really? On the left? The slave owners as well? For this conversation, from the left, we get to act like we loved all the founding fathers. It's convenient right now for us to wrap ourselves in the founders because we think it will help us win today. And then tomorrow, after we've won this little battle, little skirmish, we'll go back to telling you how horrible the founding fathers were. But for now, get Wolf Blitzer on the phone. Yeah, we love the founders for the next week.
There were no founding mothers. Is a problem.
Don't say that right now.
No. It's later. I'll put it on the calendar for next year.
Next year, Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. Where does all this stuff make sense? Suddenly from the left, the founders were brilliant again. All I've heard about the last 10 years is how half of them owned slaves and the country was started with the original horrible, But now, because it's good for us if we wrap ourselves up with the founders, then we'll do that for a week. It's insincere. All of this is insincere. Everything you've seen for the last, well, let's concentrate just in the last month, has been nonsense. Nothing legitimate about it. Again, whether you love the president or hate the president, I'm talking about realities. It's not an inquiry unless someone's mind can be changed. It's not an inquiry unless someone can be persuaded differently, or it's not an inquiry unless everyone walks in with an open mind as to the data and information and evidence that will be presented. Does anyone listening to me, from the left or the right, believe that any mind was changed in the Schiff inquiry or yesterday with Nadler on that panel, either side? At any point along the way, was anyone's mind changed, or are they basically going to come down to all the Democrats are going to vote for the articles of impeachment and all the Republicans are going to vote against it? And I ask you to ask yourself this question. If we didn't have one of these judicial hearings, would that be any different?
I don't know, when Professor Carlin came up there and said this, I mean, I was on the fence, Eric, but now I get it.
So while the president can name his son Baron, he can't make him a Baron.
And now,
get it?
She's so funny.
Okay, you know what? Now I'm fully on impeachment. Now I get it.
It's a show. It's a show. But there's something deadly serious going on here. That people are so used to wearing their own uniform and wanting to win that they just take for granted that the fabric of the country will just stay together. We don't know. Okay, what if the Democrats ran the Senate as well? Do you know how much danger we would be in right now? Does anybody realize we've never removed a president from office? One resigned because he knew he would be removed in a bipartisan manner. That's why he resigned, not because the Democrats are after him, because he lost Republicans. We don't know what happens when 63 million people go out and vote for somebody and that person wins, and then a group of politicians go through a process and remove that president. Now, we don't have to worry about it because it's not going to happen. But if the Democrats ran the Senate, look at how
who's
close
acting
we've
like
been.
the monarchy now?
Well, beyond the monarchy. Are we supposed to believe that all of these Trumpers, these people who go to these rallies, the people where you have 15,000 inside and 15,000 outside, we're supposed to believe that they'll just wake up, read the news, the president that you elected was removed from office, and I'm supposed to believe they just go to work and say, well, I guess we'll get them next time. We don't know. We don't know how that plays out on the street because it's never happened. It won't happen this time. But that's still the fire that you're playing with. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The temperature will have been turned up this high going into an election year. I mean, to my friends on the left, and I have plenty of friends on the left, probably more friends on the left than the right, because I don't know why, because I hang out with artists, I guess. But you have to ask yourself, is this about the phone call, or is this about the fact that I hate this man who is president, and I hate the way he tweets, and I hate what he says about other people, and I hate his whole attitude, and I think that it's an embarrassment to have him in the Oval Office? All those things can be legitimate points of view from you, but they are not legitimate reasons to impeach. You can't impeach a president and remove a president simply because you don't like his personality. And it seems to me, pull that news down just for one second, because you have to go getting here to Rashida Tlaib. She won in November of last year and said,
Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach them.
The phone call he's getting impeached for didn't happen until July 25th of this year. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? All right, what else you got over there?
I'm worried about you, Eric. You okay over there? You got a little sweat going.
I got a little sweat going, but that's all right. I hear that people are saying that I actually sound sexier on the air this morning.
Oh, wow.
Not sick, but sexy. That was my
my
second album. Not sick, but sexy. So I guess I'm in that phase where I get like a smoker. I get those, hey, how are you?
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Hey, ladies.
You want to sing a song like
You'll never find
another love like mine.
Someone to
I don't
love
know.
you.
This must is
my kind of Christmas. I should be sick more often, huh? The ladies are going wild. Wild. They're saying he's the new Engelbert Humperdinck.
He's the new Engelbert Humperdinck.
Who's Engelbert Humperdinck?
I don't know.
Tom Jones' cousin is the answer to that.
Oh,
right?
okay. I knew that.
Not the literary figure, the singer. Okay, go ahead.
There's drama in the city of Atlanta, Eric.
There always is.
The city of Atlanta is no longer going to release rentable e-scooters back to their respective companies without receiving impoundment fees after the devices have been picked up basically without a fee for a while.
Because happening is people are just they're done with them, and these idiots just throw the damn thing down, and the rest of us have to walk over them, and it's an eyesore at the very least. And what do we have? 5 different companies now that they just basically come in, they drop off their stuff. Now I like the disruption. I like that you told me you can ride here in 15 minutes.
It's wonderful. Traffic. I can cut to the Piedmont Park and take back ways all the way.
But you know that a lot of the people who are using these things are acting like idiots. I don't know what it is. The people who are in their mid-20s, the best I could see, somebody told them, you always have the right of way. I mean, they just don't slow down. I've personally saved 3 lives. They don't even know it. They just they blow right through crosswalks, and I don't,
I'm a pedestrian.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think the way you got to go, how the city has, if I want to impound cars in the city, or I want to put boots, right?
Yeah.
I got to come with a bunch of different people bid for that, and the city chooses one company.
A scoop boot?
Yeah. I think in reality, what we're going to have to do now is all these companies can submit bids, and each city should pick 1 or 2, but there should be a limit to the number of companies that can just drop their stuff off all over the city. Well, we better get used to this, or get right to this, I should say. Because I think I just heard Dr. Joe utter the C word.
Nope.
Yeah, chiropractor.
Yeah, that's right,
Let's do it.
Sparring with Dr. Joe.
I tell you, when the mics are off, all the words that start with letters that we say the letter because we're afraid of the words, they all get tossed around this studio.
If they only knew, the audience, what you say, right? Behind the scenes.
Yeah, they'd love me even more.
That's
just
right.
that the FCC would throw me off the air. It's a fine line I have to walk here.
I just can't believe, Dr. Joe, that you would say something like this. I mean, is this how you talk on Sunday nights?
Chiropractor? Yes, I say chiropractor all the time.
All the time.
Carrot? Absolutely.
How do you
Colon?
feel when people say doctor? Don't say carrot and colon right after each
No,
other. That is
Brings back too many memories.
really disgusting.
Flashbacks of college days.
Yeah, we all have that year. But I don't think it's something that people ought to bring up and toss back at me. I've grown a lot and I've learned a lot. Not that there's anything wrong with it. How do you feel when people say chiropractor? That's not a doctor.
That doesn't happen anymore.
It
I'll be
doesn't
honest
anymore,
with you.
right? No, it used to be.
30 years ago when I started this whole game, you weren't a doctor. Now, I go out to dinner 4 or 5 times a week with medical professionals.
You don't eat anything.
I know. Well, I'm a cheap date. Yeah.
He brings a pocket full of seeds.
Yes, they give me some garnish and I'm fine.
He brings his own water.
Your water isn't filtered, is it? I won't be drinking it.
You see I'm coughing here.
It's all right.
And you're mocking me because you claim that you never get sick.
I don't get sick. I should have brought you some vitamin D. You'd feel a lot better.
I took a bunch of vitamin D.
Dr. Joe.
Well, I took a bunch of...
The D. I got the D word. Now I said the D word, right?
He's got a lot of vitamin D.
That one. All right, we talk health and lifestyle with Dr. Joe. Whether no matter what you think about the chiropractic practice, is it practice?
It's practice. Yeah, we're not good at it.
Is it chiropractice?
It's a chiropractic. Yes, we're still not. Nobody's good at this. We're all practicing. So
chiropractice until you get it right.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So you break a few ribs along the way.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever broke anyone's neck doing that thing?
Not that I know of.
Someone just died.
Really? Uh-oh.
Yeah,
this is not good.
Yeah.
Dr. Joe. Not at Dr. Joe's.
No, none of my patients.
Nobody dies at...
No.
No, someone just, it was probably somebody who wasn't a very good chiropractor.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad everything. People die every day from aspirin.
How about all those things that, like the surgeons get busy and they leave out their scalpel inside of people? They leave sponges inside of people? You've never done that, have you? No. Jared?
Oh, yeah.
Left a sponge inside of
Honestly, when I'm operating on people, I leave things in them.
Yes.
It's like you would know this more than me. We're watching the movies and the TV shows. Are they wrong? There's usually like 12 people around the operating.
Oh no, absolutely, that's true. Yeah.
How the hell does everybody walk away and a sponge and some guy left inside?
They do inventory now, very strict inventory. They count them many times beforehand and many times afterhand.
You know what would be easier to do?
What's that?
Count the number of incisions that have been made into the human being and just check them thoroughly.
That's right. Anything in there? Nope. Sew it up.
Yeah, but you lift up something in there, and
you
then
move
you
the
sponge
spleen out of the way.
Yeah, you've tacked something in there. You forget.
Who knows it's a bad thing, right? I mean, maybe having a sponge right there is good.
Stimulate your immune system, right? There you go. That's right.
Soaking up something. All right, give me some stories.
All right, so this has been floating around the internet all week this week, and this is really kind of a PSA.
Floating around the internet.
Floating around the internet, and this headline comes from The Cut.
The
But
Cut?
it's been all over the place.
That's not some sort of sexual blog, is it?
It is not a sexual blog.
No, that's what Dr. Joe said before the mics were hot.
All right, and the warning here is, please don't expose your bottom regions to sustained direct sunlight.
So people, let's try to get this across on a family show.
Yes.
They're trying to apply sunshine to a black hole. Is that what's happening here?
They're trying to moon the sun.
And
is what they're doing. Yes.
it just is. If anybody knows astronomy, it cannot be done. No, people are going to beaches and they're exposing their. Basically, Greg Russ told me this a long time ago, and I'd never thought about it. He said the human body is basically just a bunch of stuff wrapped around one pipe.
Well, just a tube.
It's just a tube.
Yep.
It's a tube, and everything else is wrapped around that tube. So there's an entrance.
Of the tube?
Yeah, there's an entrance and an exit. What you're saying is that people are kind of exposing the exit of that tube to direct sunlight. Why? What is the benefit that they think they're getting?
Well, the belief is that because you don't normally get sunlight there, that you can spend less time in the sun and you get the same amount of vitamin D from doing that versus sitting out in the sun all day.
Was that Gwyneth Paltrow? Is Gwyneth Paltrow the one that
There's some Instagram influencers that started this one. And I honestly thought that it was people.
It feels amazing.
Yeah, can I just say this? I'm not on Instagram, and I don't believe what they're saying, but I do want to see these pics.
Well, this is Josh Brolin. Do you want to see Josh Brolin's netherworld?
No.
I'm telling you, I just felt so energized by the power of the sun on my moon. And it was just, I can't explain it to you.
Astronomy.
It was amazing.
Yeah, people just fall into any kind of belief. Why would somebody believe that?
It's sunny.
Where the sun don't shine.
That's right.
Now it does.
Let's keep it the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Grandpa.
Yeah. How am I supposed to say to you, stick it where the sun don't shine if the sun is suddenly
well, that's too bad
shining
because the sun shines there. So.
It's called your perineum, is what it is. The area between front and back.
I work for that guy.
Perineum.
That's where my office is.
You're on that level, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's the mezzanine, the perineum, and then you get to the third floor. It's in between the front and the back.
That's right. So.
You guys are making me cough. So this is a stupid idea. Look, the body would be made for it. It'd be like saying, if that can help you, then that body part will be somewhere that the sun would shine quite a bit. In other words, our ears aren't on our feet for a reason. Because if we were stepping on our ears, we wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Designed,
right?
yeah.
Are they saying that this is dangerous, or what's the problem with it?
Well, you're going to get a sunburn on your behind.
That's
on your tukai.
That was what Josh Brolin put in his Instagram post.
Brolin? Oh, he's warning people.
Yeah, he says people do not do it as long as he did, and he goes into some inappropriate language.
He does a lot of jokey jokes.
You think he's joking? This is a health issue.
I know, but he does a lot of jokes. I'm telling you, he's probably joking around.
Wait a minute. Do you follow Josh Brolin?
I do. He's really funny. He is.
Isn't he the son of the guy that used to be in the medical show? James Brolin?
I don't know.
Marcus Welby, MD?
That's right. Yeah, I don't know.
Is he that guy?
No
he
idea.
looks like him, kind of.
Yeah, good-looking guy. So
isn't he? And James Brolin is married to Barbara Streisand.
That is correct.
I'm trying to create a conspiracy theory. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just connecting dots for no good reason.
We need like a map and then the strings with the pins.
Yeah, has that ever solved any case ever? You look, hey, it's gonna look. Hey, you know what? Give me a lot of multicolored yarn and some thumbtacks and a map.
You put it on the board. You put it on the board, and then you step back from it and you say, "Okay, this is what we know."
Yeah. Oh, and then you go, "This isn't as easy as it used to be because we used to be able to put Polaroids up there."
That's right. Got to hang your cell phone up there, right?
Yes. Everybody, stick your cell phone up there in one picture. But it's really the multicolored yarn and the thumbtacks
that makes the difference.
That makes it happen.
Now, would you put Josh Brolin's Netherworld picture up there if you were tracing this down?
What if I was trying to figure out who had exposed his bottom to sun?
You'd put his right there.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had to solve that mystery.
I had a visual I'll never get out of my head now.
You know about this Gwyneth Paltrow and her goop? First of all, who thinks they get good advice at a place called Goop?
Isn't it? It's an acronym.
Might be. Girls of... I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one, yeah.
But she gives the worst advice, and medically it's bad.
Yeah, the steaming of the vagina.
Yeah, be careful now. People are listening to us.
Yeah,
that's
family show.
Oh, my goodness. What a horrible word to say. The accurate name for the female body part.
Well, it is. It's one of those weird things where the actual clinical term sounds dirtier than the actual.
For her.
The other word was used through The Sopranos for years.
That's right.
Hoo-ha is much
Hoo-ha, thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey. Don't you fight the great Jeff Foxworthy. That's where I learned hoo-ha.
The JJ, right? That was
Oprah.
Right. Oh, my God.
You and Autumn we got writers together.
It's the Latin term.
Listen, can I tell you? Let me just say something. Yeah, we can call it that because you know what? Joe and Autumn?
Know your listeners.
For heaven's sakes.
Yeah, adults.
And also,
who can handle a word.
Know your next senator.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow, she sounds like a fighter.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
I'm a little
At least
tired.
you didn't start it with so. I'm Kelly Loeffler.
Who is she?
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
And I'm going to fight for you.
Kelly. She sounds like she's leaving a voicemail. I'm Kelly Loeffler.
Need to talk to a supervisor right away.
I've lost my credit card and I was wondering if
Kelly Loeffler. Okay.
The voicemail box that you're leaving this for is full.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
And I'm your next senator.
Leave a message after the tone.
All right, so it's a stupid idea.
I'm going to go with you on this one.
Don't sunburn your bum.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So the next one
you
is.
Ever read British pornography?
No, as a matter of fact.
Because the word bum is like a homeless. It's like to us, it's a homeless guy.
Right.
But to them, it's a part.
The bottom. Yes.
So if you're reading British pornography as an American, you think, what? There was a hobo down there?
To bum.
Yeah, behind the perineum is the bum. Right. Exactly.
Once you introduce a hobo, then nothing's fun anymore. This is not.
Do you know what fanny means?
I think it means dancer.
No.
What's it mean?
It's the part that's in front of your perineum if you're a woman.
Oh,
it's your fanny.
Is it?
So it's funny. So when they had
fanny packs.
Yeah, when fanny packs were a thing, that was a joke in England, and then put it in your fanny pack.
Is it like that marsupial thing that women get after they have a couple of kids?
No,
that thing. You know what I'm talking about?
It's the
pouch. Okay. It's not the pouch. It's not the kangaroo pouch.
No, it's the real. It's the
What is that thing that happens to women?
I'm afraid to say anything.
Well, you should be. What is that thing that happens to women after a while? They get that.
They become beautiful and elegant.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not more beautiful. I'm just asking a curiosity.
Listen, when you're pregnant,
can they put their next child in there and walk around?
That's the point. Yeah, that's how people are surrogates.
They put their Joey in there, right?
That's
exactly.
Right. Hey, be careful.
That's
next story.
All right, this comes from Healthline. This is directed at Autumn here. Yes,
why?
Autumn. Children need to take mental health days too. Here's why, Dr. Joe.
No, he's saying that because you're you like the psychobabble. That's why he's saying that.
Oh,
no, he was saying that because I'm a woman.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to tell you that I think that this is nonsense. I think children are much more resilient than adults. Adults seem to forget what it was like to be a child. Man, if you grew up in my house. The only way I could have gotten a mental day off would be if you would have given me to another family for a day. Impossible.
But then they would have suffered. So yes,
exactly. So I don't know. You probably believe in it. You're a touchy-feely kind of guy.
I'm not buying this one either.
Yeah, be kind.
Right.
Teach them to be honest.
Yeah, this
don't
is
abuse.
real life.
You don't
right.
abuse, but no, mental health days off. You're not going to grow up and be Steve Jobs if that's the way you're raised.
Irreverent, entertaining, gut-busting,
very funny, and doesn't toe any party line.
I think it's a great show.
The Von Haessler Doctrine on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I just found out what Dr. Joe wears when he does his TV spots. A shirt.
A shirt?
Yeah, but it's a woman's shirt, isn't it?
No, it's a men's shirt.
A compression shirt.
It's a compression shirt.
Why do you wear a compression shirt?
I've
never worn a compression anything.
We're going to get you some compression stuff then.
Is it like a Manx?
Yeah.
It's like a Manx. Yeah, exactly, yeah. No,
and you wear that.
Yes.
You're not a fat guy.
No.
Why do you feel that you need to be compressed?
Body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
That's what it is, yeah. No.
Why do you feel
It's probably caused by your vagus.
Vagus, yes. No, I just feel better when I wear it. It makes me feel tighter and firmer. I stand up straighter.
Snatched.
Yeah.
Girl, you are snatched, baby.
Repeat after me, Dr. Joe.
Yes.
It's
a
girdle.
Upper body girdle. Right.
I love the fact that people have been wearing girdles for a long time, but now we call them compression
It's
pants.
compression shirt. Right,
Compression
exactly.
shirt.
Yeah.
It's a girdle.
Makes me look younger, you know?
How does it make you look younger? You put it over your head?
Yeah.
I mean, most people judge age by two things.
Yes.
Face and hands.
The older you get, the little more meat you have on you, the better you look. Because once you get older, and you're thin, you look gaunt.
Yeah, look at me. I'm losing all this weight. I look gaunt.
You stand sideways, can't see you.
That's right.
Stick
You're
your tongue
trying to be 2D.
That's my goal.
You know, people are commenting on a picture of you, Mark Aram, and Eric Erickson, and they're noting how thin you look in that picture.
Yeah, I mean, I lost it on purpose, people. It wasn't something. I'm doing a lot of coughing now. But the two things are not related. All right, Dr. Joe, tell people how they can find you.
Sunday nights right here, WSB 7 to 9. We do our live show. Over 1,000 hours of podcasts on the website, drjoe.com.
I've seen every hour.
Yes.
Hour 3 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins, well, right now. You have some open mics for me before we go on to more headlines?
Yeah, well,
you've
been saying...
I hear they're impeaching the president. Did you hear that?
Unbelievable.
I knew it.
Yeah, you knew.
Yeah, I knew it before anybody.
Pelosi, if I understood what she was talking about. But I think I know what she's talking about. So
we're going to proceed with impeachment.
Did you say you're going to besiege us with impeachment?
Proceed.
Can you hit her again, actually saying, I swear it sounds like she says she's going to besiege.
Today, I'm asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
Is it too much to ask these people know how to speak?
I can speak.
Yeah, you can speak. I just can't understand what the hell you're...
See?
You know what? You've proven yourself. You've exonerated yourself. No doubt. You have. What are the open mics?
Well, you've been saying that you've been feeling a little under the weather today, and
a little something starting in the throat.
Brewing.
This clever open micer has a theory as to what's going to happen tomorrow.
I am going out on a limb here. Going to predict that tomorrow is going to be a best of the Von Haessler Doctrine.
I don't think so, because unless
that was a long pause.
Well, no, obviously, if it just exponentially got worse, maybe. But
plus, you have to work tomorrow afternoon.
I got things to do. We're trying to get foster kids to have Christmas. So no, I think if it stays in the head area, like a head cold or whatever this is, I'm fine with that. If you go into the flu area and then the stomach starts going, then you lose me. I can walk through almost anything so long as there's no stomach queasiness, nausea element. Once you get the nausea in there, I might as well. I'm useless. You break my arm with a tire iron, I'll keep on going until we get to wherever we have to go. But if I'm a little bit, if I get nauseated, then I can't really function. So I think right now it seems to me like it's more of kind of a upper, like a chest, head cold kind
little
of thing.
sweat, too, as you were saying with Dr.
Sweat,
Joe.
but then again, people are messing with me behind the scenes because they know that I love a cold studio. And I think people are messing with the heating. You think?
Yeah, but yesterday it was really cold, right?
No, Alan, I do not need a compression shirt. Not yet. No, it had warmed up yesterday.
Yeah, it was nice in here.
Behind my back, something is going on. Oh. I believe that thermostat is now a dummy. And then I go over there and I go, okay, 60 degrees, hit on. And then it just heats up just the way the rest of the place does. Because they're out to get me. Is that part of being sick? I'm starting to feel as if everybody's out to get me.
People are out to
sign?
get you.
It's a sign of something.
It's not paranoia if it's true.
Now, these other open mics that we got are responding to this happy gentleman that left us this open mic earlier.
You guys just need to drop Rush, Sean, Eric Erickson, everybody that's conservative, because your station is not conservative. All you're doing is pissing off all the conservatives because of your stupid bumpers in between these excellent talk show hosts. Know your listeners. Know your listeners.
Well, so he's when he says bumpers, is he talking about the news?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, is that like a new insult?
I don't know what it is people think that we're supposed to deliver. It's not our job during the news to deliver your point of view. And if the Speaker of the House, if the news is that the Speaker of the House said you're going to go forward with articles of impeachment, if you're a news station, passing that along is not reading Democrat talking points. If you disagree with me, quite plainly, you're wrong. Telling you the news about Democrats who have power in this country, we're a news organization, we're supposed to report to you about the people who have power. It's not our job to ignore every powerful Democrat and what they say because you don't like Democrats. And if you're one of those people, then let's take a step backward here and talk about a holistic point of view on the world. Why wouldn't you want to know what the other side is doing? This is the way I want to go into the Super Bowl. Hey, I'm a Rams fan. I don't want to hear about the Patriots and their strategies and their schemes and the way they win Super Bowls. You're just hitting me with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady's talking points. Uh-oh, the Rams lost. I would think before you go on the battlefield, who is the general who says, oh, don't even bother finding out who the opposing general is? If you were to take the time to find out how the opposing general fights battles, well, you'd just be wasting your time with opposing general talking points. It's idiotic. If you're into politics and you want your side to win, you're insubordinate to your cause. If you never hear, listen, oh, well, I do, Eric. I wait for Tucker Carlson to tell me. Oh, really? Well, I guess you're probably getting a pretty a neutral point of view there. That'll help you out. Again, when you're going into the Super Bowl, just have a bunch of people who hate the opposing team tell you what's going on. You're probably going to show up.
You're going to win by 40, Eric.
Yeah. Exactly. People have got to. It's like you want to go out and just shake everybody. The bullhorn people on the left, the extreme Trumpers on the right. You just want to shake people. You're not a living human being if you are not listening to what people who disagree with you are saying. You're not engaged. You're nothing more than a puppet. Somebody else is the marionette. Somebody else is working the strings. If you're not looking into and your personal curiosity doesn't make you want to know what the opposing side is doing, then that says you're not a general. You will never be a leader. You're a follower. You're sheep. Because if you're following anybody who's a decent leader, guess what they're studying? The opposition. Can we all agree Bill Belichick's the best football coach of all time in the pros?
Yeah.
Come on. What the hell does he do all week long but study the opposition?
I thought he listened to talking points telling him how great he is.
That's probably what he should do. He should probably just stop. He should stop looking at footage of the opposing quarterback that he's going to have to face, and he should just listen to sports radio in Boston and just fill his head full of how wonderful his team is. That's going to help him. And then these people lose elections. They don't know why. They can't even begin to understand why. It's like that old joke about McGovern when he ran. McGovern lost 49 states. And there's a thing, some writer or somebody in New York City said, I can't believe McGovern didn't win. Everyone I know voted for him. That's your bubble. You're inside of that bubble. I lost Jared. He's looking at his phone. So I've ranted far enough, so I'll step back.
No.
Next.
I've got more open mics responding to that gentleman.
Hey, Eric. Eric, this is Kenny in Marietta. If he's talking about the news sections in between all the shows, I completely understand. Those news segments between the shows are completely 1,000% liberal. They do not have anything to do with anything about actual news. It's just the liberal talking points being espoused while we're listening to the exact opposite on your guys' shows. And it infuriates the listeners.
You could actually walk away with a full perspective. Oh my God, that would be the worst thing. Where's that lady from Kid Rock? Oh my God! I'm listening to my favorite show, and then I heard the other perspective. Oh my God! What are you, a robot? Your neural things? And then when you hear the other side and you still believe your side, you've reinforced your own beliefs. All right, what else?
We have one more.
Hey, this is Fuxie from Duluth. Hey. And I just wanted to say that if WSB truly knew their listeners, they would know that I want to hear nothing but the von Haessler doctrine during the day. Then at night, I want to hear nothing but Mark Arum polling his fat friends to see which fast foods they want to slam down their gullets. Come on, WSB, know your listeners.
All I can say is I can't tell you what great radio is. But I'll let Elizabeth Warren hear.
Feel it and taste it.
I can feel it and I can taste it.
Come on, WSB. Know
feel
your
it
listeners.
And taste it.
Feel it and taste it.
I can't explain it.
Smell it.
I can feel it and taste it.
Hear it, touch it, sit on it. Oh my God! Lick it, hear it.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Find it.
What's wrong with people?
Lose it, find it.
I voted a certain way, Eric. You know what that means? I never want to hear the other point of view at all, ever again, in any way. I don't even want to know those people exist.
Sounds good.
Well, you don't get involved with anything.
Nah.
Let's
talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey.
She goes to crocheting blogs.
Oh, whoops.
That's neutral.
But maybe it's not. Remember that Ravelry story?
That's right.
Yeah, no Trumpers allowed in the crocheting.
Crocheting.
The crocheting people don't like Trump.
No, we don't like him.
The crafts people.
My grandson voted for Trump, and I kicked him out of his basement apartment. Oh, my God!
And this is not to be confused with macaroni people, right? Not the craft.
Well, no, that's a different. That's K.
Okay.
Macaroni and cheese.
Gotcha. Okay, just double check.
The gold.
You know, can we go back to the impeachment thing yesterday? You have a cut 3. I mean, this is just this is the inquiry. This is supposed constitutional experts, and Nadler asked this question, which there's no answer to this question. No one alive knows the answer to this question, but a lot of people are so self-righteous they believe they know the answer.
If Washington were here today, if he were joined by Madison and Hamilton and other framers, what do you believe they would say if presented with the evidence before us about President Trump's conduct?
Oh, I'm an expert.
I believe the framers would identify President Trump's conduct as exactly the kind of abuse of office, high crime and misdemeanor that they were worried about.
Oh, really? Well, he's a constitutional expert, so obviously he would know what all the framers would think. By the way, if the framers all thought the same thing, how come the Constitutional Convention took more than one day? This idea, what would the founders fought over everything. That was everything was compromise. Yeah, I'm talking to you on the left and I'm talking to you on the right. Can you believe this great country you live in is the result from its birth of compromise? The founders, so-called, disagreed on a whole bunch of almost all of it. The idea, well, I'm a constitutional expert, so ask me, I know. You mean the Founding Fathers? What they would think about this? Oh, you mean Jefferson and Adams and Washington and Franklin and what's his Gwinnett?
Button Gwinnett.
Button Gwinnett. I was going to say Peanut for some reason. I don't know. Button Gwinnett. Yes, friends called him Peanut. Just exactly how much in 1776 do you think that John Adams and Button Gwinnett agreed upon?
He was more of an Articles of Confederation kind of guy.
He may have been. I don't know a lot about old Peanut, but I hear he was a good old soul. right, you better not have another stupid story about flying cars.
I think I have just a story for you, Eric.
I'll bet you do.
Uber's CEO says flying cars are coming in 2023.
Oh my God!
This is baloney. So there's going to be a flying car Uber service by 2023. These people just say things for no good reason.
But what about in Miami earlier this week? They had the car that could fly and drive that was unveiled on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, okay, it was unveiled. Nobody died once. Good. You're talking about having an entire fleet. Look at the trouble we have with the e-scooters in a city. Like, exactly, who's flying cars over my house? I think I want to know that. What are the rules to... people
don't worry about that. Just sign up. It's
just BS. We're nowhere near having flying cars. Why? Eric, why do you say such a thing? Because they're a stupid idea. That's why. Number one, it's a stupid idea. Well, we can get people off the roads. Well, once you get everybody off the roads, you got all the congestion of the roads in the sky. By the way, every time you see a fender bender, like maybe you're driving down 400, as I do quite often, the Hospitality Highway, and you see a car, and it's just over on the side of the road. And you go past it for like 2 or 3 days, that car's still on the side of the road. Remember this, had that car been flying, it would have crashed into the ground, blown up, and probably killed 19 people along the way.
Yeah, but Uber's CEO says that flying a vehicle will feel like, quote, playing a video game.
Good.
Easy.
I hope that helps him raise money for his stupid stock. But here, the Von Haessler Doctrine's going to let you in on something. Every one of us is going to die living in a world without flying cars. It's never going to happen. Now, I know that English Nick is not available to do Outrage Corner this week. But there's a couple of stories that are kind of about Christmas in a way, and people are being outraged. One is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the classic children's tale that plays on CBS, I believe it is.
Only the claymation, though.
Oh, I mean, the claymation? That's not claymation.
It's not?
No, those are like wooden puppets.
Stop animation?
Stop animation.
Oh, okay. I guess you're right. It's not. But it does
you might find interesting is that in claymation, first one must have clay.
I thought there were parts that were made of clay in that one.
No, there's no clay. This is like 1961 or something.
They didn't have clay back then.
No, that wasn't invented until the 70s. Everyone knows that.
Of course.
So since there are things, and the other one is the Peloton commercial that is outraging everybody. And remember, right here, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was talking about the Peloton ad?
Yeah.
And as a very odd ad for many reasons, but not about being triggered because, well, I'm a real man. Let's do it.
Outrage Corner.
That's outrageous.
Without
English Nick.
Without English Nick. No, you're not here this time, English Nick. No, sorry, English Nick. You're not part of the outrages.
You see that video on Facebook?
So the thing that is upsetting people about Rudolph. Now, if people are listening now, we get new people every day. This show started as a podcast in my basement. And I remember the first Christmas that we were down there, we did a long thing because I watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I watch it every year. There's certain things. I don't care how old I get. It's not Christmas to me. And believe me, on December 22nd or 3rd, I have packed all of this stuff in just so that I can walk away from the season feeling like I had a season. It's not a season for me if I don't watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, It's a Wonderful Life, maybe A Christmas Story, things like that. I have to see these things. Rudolph is one of them. And a few years ago, when we were down in the basement, I really began to notice that, man, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa is really quite a jerk to most of that. And only accepts Rudolph once he realizes Rudolph can do some good for him and help him.
Useful.
And he's really, but now, of course, again, rather than just playful analysis, a beloved show, now it has to get deeper. Why? Von Haessler has told you, we live in the era of sociology. There is no playful deconstruction. There's deconstruction to find out the things that are harming us. And now what we're finding out is Santa wasn't a jerk. Well, Santa was, wait for it, a bully. And we all know that being a bully is the worst thing in the world. So Santa Claus, and he really is actually just quite grumpy through this whole thing. So now millennials are like, hey, this is terrible. And what kind of message are we sending to because they don't understand art, how it works. What kind of message are we sending that we're showing Santa Claus bullying people? Well, in reality, you have to get to the end. I can't give you a redemption story, and I have to knock you down first. Do people understand how this works? I can't, if you're a storyteller, I can't give you a redemption story if I don't knock you down first. But
I stopped watching It's a Wonderful Life, halfway through because it was just so depressing.
It's depressing. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, when Jimmy Stewart, when he tears up that house, when he's losing his mind, well, have we really thought about the kind of effect that left on the children as they grew older? Seeing their father out of control like that? I mean, that's what the era of sociology says. So in reality, though, the truth is, in a playful and fun way, yes, Santa is a jerk. He's a jerk. I mean, not just to Rudolph, but, the elves come in, they try to sing a song to him. He's totally disinterested. What's that? We are Santa's elves. Yink, 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 yink. And then the Mrs. Santa Claus has got to get out there and go, oh, don't worry about him. And he's all grumpy. Well, he's all grumpy because the weather report doesn't look good. And he's got to deliver presents to every child in the world. And let me tell you something, that's stressful.
It's a lot.
That'll get out of man's mind.
He works one day of the year.
Yeah, he's got to get it.
It's a tough day.
I mean, he gets the full 24 hours, but it's a lot. Every child. So he's a little, let's say he's on edge in Rudolph. But he is a jerk when he first walks in to see Rudolph. And then he sees the nose, and he looks at Rudolph like he's a freak. Like he puts his hands up to his eyes. He's like, whoa, I don't want to be around this freak. And he basically chastises Donner, Rudolph's dad, and says, he's never going to pull a sleigh for me. Not a freak like that. So he's a jerk, and the millennials can't handle it. But also, a lot of things have. First of all, I have to point out that there's nobody real in this thing. But other than that, there's no real. But
I found an article on Yukon Cornelius people being outraged about him being white.
Oh well, he's why wouldn't he be? They're out. They're in the North Pole.
Why aren't they Inuits?
Okay, I see what you're saying. He'd be Eskimo.
Yeah,
sure.
But no,
we don't say Eskimo.
No, Inuit. Whatever. Eskimo. That's bad now too.
We don't say that, Eric. Eskimo is a word that was created by the white man.
Oh, so do you talk about those the chocolate over vanilla ice cream pies, or do you call them Eskimo?
The first one is.
No, they call Eskimo pies, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Oh.
So people are still saying Eskimo?
Inuit.
But Cornelius is somebody who's a prospector. He's come from the other parts of the world to try to find silver and or gold, if you're not following the story. He's not a local. So that doesn't make any sense either.
Problematic.
Certainly, the whole thing's problematic. But this Rudolph thing, it's weird anyway, because nobody even gets into the most bizarre element of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And that is, Mama keeps saying, eat, Santa, eat. And he's all skinny. And then when things start coming together, he sits down, has one plate of pasta or something, and gains magically 45 pounds. Which, of course, couldn't happen.
It's not good for the heart.
It's not good for the heart. We did not know that Santa was a yo-yo dieter.
No, it's not good.
I've known people. It's not good for you. You can't go up and down and up and down and up and down.
No, your heart can't take it.
So the truth is, yes, it's always been interesting that Santa Claus is a bit of a jerk until the very end.
He's a bully.
He is a bully.
He's a bully.
And now, but see, millennials are not going to, I don't even think that we should give that show the time of day. But here's the thing. This is how storytelling happens. By the way, I'm going to take this too far for people. But this mentality, this egalitarian, sort of socialist kind of mentality, I've been warning you, it leads to a bland, gray world. So I can't tell you redemption stories anymore because I'm not allowed to kick you in the teeth in scene one. But in order to deliver the audience into this feeling of wonderful ecstasy when everything works out, I got to kick you in the teeth in scene one. Otherwise, we all go and we watch shows where everybody kind of gets along with everybody else most of the time.
Your protagonist has to go through a journey.
Yeah, yes, the journey has to find out he or she they or them or whomever have to find out things. They have to. How do you learn things?
I think that Santa should have just used all the reindeer to take all the presents all around the world.
They should all been in the front.
All the reindeer.
Exactly.
All the reindeer. All the reindeer in the world?
Yeah, all the reindeer.
Oh,
First of all,
you mean not even just the ones like?
do you know how
that are already
hard
there?
Every one of them.
Do you know how hard it was for
Servitude.
Santa to land on top of my apartment?
In Baton Rouge.
How hard was
Louisiana.
it?
Well, I'm just saying, not all of us grew up with the typical home with a large roof.
You don't have a chimney. Where does Santa come in?
I never had a chimney.
Yeah.
Santa always found me, though, because Santa
Isn't
and
that
I
nice?
were tight. He never bullied me personally. But isn't it
But he
funny?
would have if you ever caught him.
When I was a kid, I never caught it.
Where's your dad? Oh.
I never caught that Santa Claus. Uh-huh. Yeah, this isn't the one from that. Isn't it funny that Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer? I think of Holly Jolly Christmas as the song
Yeah, I
more
do
than
too.
actual Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. All right. Alan's like, okay, fine.
Fine.
I'll cut it then.
It's not the right song.
Is that what you want? I'll cut the song.
It's not from the movie.
Well, tonight there's going to be a lot of people writing problematic articles because A Charlie Brown Christmas airs tonight on Channel 2 at 8
Charlie
o'clock.
Brown. Now that's not the Thanksgiving one though.
No, this is a Charlie Brown
Yeah, but
Christmas.
the Thanksgiving one when they put is it Franklin? Is their friend of color?
Yeah.
You notice in the Thanksgiving one, they sit down to eat their Thanksgiving dinner, and Franklin is alone on his side of the table. Now that's outrageous.
I don't know.
All right, so we got that one Christmas outrage down. No one's supposed to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer anymore because Santa's a bully.
Correct.
And then we're going to get the Peloton bike weird ad controversy. But as we're getting on things about Christmas that annoy me, I'd like to bring one up.
Okay.
The song that is often referred to as Run, Run, Rudolph is not called Run, Run, Rudolph. It's a Chuck Berry song. By the way, on our great Christmas special this year, Driving and Crying Do It, it's not Run, Run, Rudolph. If you look, every time you see Chuck Berry, it's his song. It's Run, Rudolph, Run. And then somewhere over the years, I'm looking at here, Kelly Clarkson with her version of Run, Run, Rudolph. Isn't that funny? Chuck Berry's version's called Run, Rudolph, Run. This is how we lose our society, Autumn. Don't laugh at me.
Okay.
People don't notice the little things. And the next thing you know, totalitarianism.
Wow.
See where I jumped with that?
Yeah.
People don't notice the little things.
So you went from A to C.
Excuse me, or 1984, where all of a sudden people aren't noticing. Oh, he didn't exist. Well, the first thing you don't notice is they changed the name of a popular Christmas song. And then next thing is, oh, he didn't exist. I thought there were 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore. No, there were only ever 3. And you begin to believe it.
Okay.
Well, I guess so.
Is my Amazon package coming overnight?
There
or?
you go. I guess it's called Run, Run, Rudolph, and
whatever.
Lincoln was never on the Mount Rushmore.
If he was, if he wasn't, who cares?
The Berenstein Bears.
The Berenstein Bears.
The Berenstein.
Oh, the Mandela Effect.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. But then again, I'm sick. I may not be following you guys. But
The Mandela Effect is that everyone at some point thought.
Mandala.
No,
go ahead.
Nelson Mandela.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the thing you do with the rocks in the sand. Go ahead.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That Nelson Mandela died in prison. There's like a collective memory of that.
Really?
And,
Are people
yes.
stupid?
No, they just thought
He was the president of South Africa for well over a decade. I mean, he was the president of South Africa for a long time.
What? Okay.
Did people really believe that he died in prison?
Yes.
Wow, people are stupid.
And then the Berenstein Bears.
Yes.
It's the Berenstain Bears.
No, Berenstein.
Right.
No. Is that because people look at it differently?
Because you.
How long were they in prison?
I think they were president.
I'm confused.
They were on Mount Rushmore.
So there's a thing called the Mandela Effect.
Yes.
That should be called the idiot effect.
Well, you
Mandela was released in 90 or 91 or something, and he was the president of South Africa from, I don't know the exact dates, but it would seem to me like 93 or 94, definitely through when South Africa had the World Cup, right? Wasn't he still president when South Africa had the World Cup?
Well, it was a
collective.
It was a collective memory that he had died in prison.
But what was everybody sleeping when all the big news was he's out of prison?
No,
and then that other big news day. Well, this is what I'm asking.
Okay.
Was the collective memory before he was let out of prison? So like in the 80s?
I don't remember. I don't know when it happened. It's the phenomenon was initially investigated by a psychological pioneer.
I don't need to know
He served as
I know.
president from 1994 to 1999.
Is that all?
Yes.
Well, that means he wasn't there when the World Cup got there.
Correct. The World Cup was in the 2000.
2010, wasn't it? I don't know. I'm obviously wrong. But the man was the president of South Africa for a good long time.
Yes.
How can people think that he died in prison in South Africa? Doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm looking it up.
All right, you look it up. We're running out of time. We don't have time to talk about this Peloton ad. Now, I'd say this Peloton ad, I made fun of it a few weeks ago because this gorgeous woman walks downstairs, and you think that it's that Christmas, and she's getting a Peloton bike, but you see that she starts Instagramming all of her progress. And then you realize at the end that she's showing, which I find, what is this? You're on a 72-inch screen, you're showing your Instas for a year to your husband as, look what you've done for me. I mean, it's a bizarre ad, but I didn't know that it was people are saying it's dystopian.
Yeah.
That's a good word for it. I want to have words of the day. Dystopia.
Okay.
Does everybody know what dystopia is? Dystopia? Come on,
it's a
Jared.
cool store in the mall.
Yes, it's from the kids shop.
Yeah.
Dystopia. It's okay. You can admit
unrealistic.
No, it's not unrealistic. A lot of people use words. Utopia, right? You know what that is?
That's like an ideal society.
An ideal society where there's peace and harmony.
An unideal society would be.
We'd say the least ideal society would be dystopian with war and famine and post-apocalyptic bugaboos.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're calling it dystopian, but it is odd that this 115-pound woman is being given a bike, and then put on that beautiful wood surface, it's horrible.
It's not horrible.
It's annoying.
What's weird about it is that she's showing her husband a year later. This part about the weight, I think that betrays the type of people who are acting like they're offended. Because we know it's all acting. Nobody's really offended by a Peloton ad. You cannot be fat and still have a workout cycle because you're not simply just trying to lose weight. You're also trying to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept is, she doesn't need to lose any weight. Why does she have a workout bike? But that's not the only reason that you work out. You don't just work out to lose weight. You work out to build muscle mass, to just be overall, in general, healthier. Here's the truth. There's not one single person today, for all the stories you're going to read over the next couple of days, who is actually offended by Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or the Peloton ad. But there's a lot of hacks, and I guess I have to throw us in this last half hour, who will talk about it anyway. But there are genuinely no actual victims here, as is usually the case. That music tells me I'm going to be a victim if I don't get out of here. We're going to go over and do the podcast 30. You can join us by going to the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page or the WSB Radio Facebook page. Click on the red box. Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Podcast 30 starts right now. Tim Andrews is not here. But, what's your DJ name? J-Rad.
That's right.
Rocking the tunes. Autumn Fisher. I just wanted to hear that little part. I knew it was coming. Autumn Fisher. Yeah. Underneath the clothes hangers. She usually is. There's wooden clothes hangers behind you.
Woo.
They are. Make sure they don't fall on you.
We should go to wooden clothes hangers for their opinions on what Nancy Pelosi said today.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
I just saw something up there where...
all right, clothes hangers. We heard you. Got your opinion.
Very vocal. Yeah. Hey, punch bug.
Punch bug.
That's what we used to say. We used to punch
You don't
each
say...
other.
Oh.
All right, it's okay. We have different... we grew up in different times.
We did.
What did you say?
Said, jinx.
No, she grew up in a more wealthy class. Punch Cadillac.
Yeah. No, I think the punch bug, I am getting it. It was jinx and you punch the person, right?
Yes. No, you punch bug. Punch bug is just a punch.
Punch bug for us is when we're traveling,
Volkswagen.
we see a Volkswagen, we punch each other. I guess when you're kids, you're just trying to find reasons to punch people.
Sure.
Wait, who come up with that one? Oh, when you see a Volkswagen, you get
you get to hit your sibling or your cousin in the back seat.
You get a freebie. You can just hit the guy, and
Yeah.
that, it's not. You're not going to go. They can't sue you because all you have to do is prove that you saw a Volkswagen before you punched them.
I should tell my kids whenever they're mad at each other, just yell at each other that they're going to sue them.
Yeah.
I'm going to sue you.
Yeah. We're not far from it. So,
You want to hear some Mandela Effects?
I do, but I want to before I get this out of my head. This Mayor Pete thing that happened, we didn't get to it on the radio side. So Mayor Pete, who famously has 0% African American support.
I'm going to change my ethnicity just so that he'll have 1%.
Okay. Well, how would you be 1%? Just one person?
0.001%.
If there's only 100 people in the world.
I don't know how math works. Doesn't matter.
So he's the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. And so the local black leaders, city hall people, some clergy, members of the NAACP maybe, decided to say, hey, we like Mayor Pete, and we need to have, so they had a deal last night where African Americans who support Mayor Pete. And Black Lives Matter was there. For most of it, in the background, they're mad. And then, I swear, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but I'm pretty sure it was a white person with a Black Lives Matter shirt stealing the microphone from genuine black people to talk about how Mayor Pete is. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the person, it looked to me like it was a white man or woman. I don't know. But beyond that, it just allows the media, the progressive media, to continue to pretend that the reason that Mayor Pete has such low to nothing polling numbers with African Americans is because of a police shooting in South Bend. There is no way in the world that is true. Almost every potential African American Democrat primary voter has probably never even heard of the police shooting incident. But it allows the progressive press to cover it in a certain way, because what they don't want to do is find out exactly why Mayor Pete is picking up zero traction with black primary voters in the Democrat Party, because the progressive media, there's a feeling, it's always like, well, if any group in society is identified as oppressed historically, well, the assumption is today they're the most enlightened people around about everything. But it turns out that oppressed people are people. You can remove the oppression, you can address the stuff that's happened in the past that's wrong and not do it anymore, and recalibrate the power structure, but they're still people. They're not perfect, ideal, enlightened on every issue simply because they were part of a group that was targeted for oppression. That's a very difficult thing. CNN does not want to deal with it. But if Mayor Pete was not getting any traction with white religious Democrats, CNN and MSNBC would have no problem burrowing down into that story and finding out exactly why. It's a very funny thing that's going on here. But 2 or 3 weeks ago, James Clyburn used to be the head of Congressional Black Caucus.
Yeah.
Said, a lot of people I know, I'm not going to vote for a gay guy. Now, if James Clyburn would have said anything else, if he would have condemned a Republican, you'd still be seeing it. But it goes away because it's not convenient. We can't find out that by and large, the white community is more progressive on gay rights issues than African American community. But I'm telling you that in general, total general, that's almost certainly true. That being a 16-year-old black kid coming out today is a lot like being a 16-year-old white kid coming out in 1973 or 74. I used to say the 50s, but that's probably too drastic. More like 73 or 74, where it's a little more open. But it just goes to show you that news people are not curious. They know how they want the world to be, and they're going to write it as close to that as they can. That's why you don't see a whole lot of stories about most of America who basically are like, what are they trying to impeach the president or something? CNN's ratings aren't going up through the roof in all of this. Most people have no. My friend at the wedding, I've known this guy since I was 8 years old. He doesn't vote. He does not vote. And he said, I think Trump is full of a bunch of stuff. And he says, I do like the fact that he kind of throws everything at the wall. Like he's not afraid to try new things. And then at the end of the conversation, he said, what are they doing? I heard they're trying to impeach him or something. This was 2 weeks ago. This is an average person. I mean, he's above average because he's my friend, but I'm just saying that the reality, the bubble that they live in, the 24-hour news bubble is like, oh, everybody's on this. I mean, Autumn wants to vote for Mayor Pete because he's gay.
And his name's Pete.
I had to tell her she didn't care what party he's in. She didn't know what he was the mayor of. She thought Mayor Pete was like a nickname that people gave him.
No, I knew he was a mayor.
You didn't know what state. You didn't know what city.
Ohio.
No.
Indiana.
Yeah, I just said it.
I know. It doesn't matter, does it? What state? What state? It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm sure it does. Being
Why?
the mayor, because you might want to look and see, was he a good mayor before you elect him president of the United States?
I'm not voting for him because whether he's a good mayor or not.
What? That's as stupid as voting for somebody because do you not see that is as stupid as voting against somebody because they're gay? If you're voting for them just because you're gay.
Yeah,
it's
but
the
I'm not
same
doing
idiocy.
that, so.
You're not even registered. When's the last time you voted?
I voted in the last election.
Okay. I don't want to know.
And the one before that, and the one before that.
I don't even know.
But only presidential elections, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, city council? Yeah, the people who actually
make
have
impact
anything to do
on
with
your life?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to name them.
Are any of them named Pete?
No, you just vote
Are
for
any
people
of them
named
gay?
Pete?
Any gay Pete's out there?
Do you know
running for local office? I'm in.
Hitler's middle name was Pete, but you didn't know that.
No, it was not.
Sure it was Peter. Pete.
Peter. It's like something. What's German for
And I've
Peter?
heard rumors. I don't know. He certainly did like the blonde hair, blue-eyed types.
Yes, he did.
So,
I already made my point. I made my point about people. I shouldn't be able to vote because I don't know enough about it.
I just find it fascinating. You look at CNN today. I'm looking at. Did New Year's come early? I mean, they might as well have broken out the champagne and the confetti after Pelosi said, "Oh, good. We know
Today, I'm asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
We know exactly what every hour of programming is going to be for the next month now." And they convince themselves that people care. They don't. They don't care. And the winner of next year's election is going to be, there'll be variables involved. How good is the candidate the Democrats put up against him?
Or her.
Or her. Well, how are the, no, against him, I said.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Well, there are things that
Trump
could happen.
identifies as a male.
Right now.
So, what if somebody primaries him? What if the right candidate comes up and primaries him and wins?
Thanks, Jared.
I mean, there are possibilities. Autumn's right.
It's going to matter how good the person is that they put up against him. How well is the campaign run? Are they able to capitalize on certain things? And how do people feel about their general life at that point? Because it's not about, you could choose from 9 like it is now. Ultimately, we end up choosing from 2. If you're a libertarian, you throw your vote away on the 3rd. But for most people, you choose between 2. So you aren't necessarily, this concept that when people vote, they're just in love every time with the person they vote for is not true. I think this is going to backfire. That's my first, I really do. I think it's going to backfire. I think you can just see through it. Does anybody believe the Democrats were dragged to this?
If the election were tomorrow, I think hands down Trump wins by probably a much bigger margin than he won before.
Well, he won by a pretty big electoral margin before.
Yeah.
He lost the popular vote. And people grouse about that. And my response to that is there anything different about the way this president won the presidency than any other president in history?
Well,
no.
Wait,
Shut up.
Russia.
We did a whole 2-year investigation on that.
Not
Came
enough.
up with nothing.
Not enough.
Just keep looking. And you watch them, see it, they're just convinced. They're just, everybody cares about. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a damn. I mean, when I say nobody, I'm talking about, at the very least, 75% of Americans. They don't care about Trump, and they don't care about Pelosi, and they don't care about Sanders. Next November, they're going to go, this person, that person. What commercials did I see? What did I,
They'll probably wait for those first couple of debates, and that's oftentimes when people get the first exposure to both candidates.
Right. Yes. For all of this, and now these cycles go on forever. This is why someone like Kamala Harris has to drop out, because you're forced to start running now a year and a half before Iowa. That means you got to have staff. It costs a lot more money now. If it was a shorter period of time, more people could be there on the day that the caucuses happen. I had a point I was going to, but I lost it.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm getting a little sick.
The common cold.
The common cold got me.
It's not good, man.
I know. What's going to happen tomorrow? What if this feeling grows and grows?
I'm just going to go home and go to bed.
Well, the Power Pod got another opportunity to fill in.
Really, you guys?
We're going to be filling in on December 19th for Mark Aram again. We're ready to go.
Yeah. Hey, you got good reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. People liked it. I didn't listen.
You know what else has good reviews? One Topic.
Yeah.
Greg and Autumn.
Well, everybody that watches the podcast 30 already knows about One Topic. And I won't tell my radio audience. It's too filthy. One Topic is too filthy. I can't send my people there.
I mean, it's not too filthy.
It's filthy.
It can just
I've never
that
listened.
could be your next topic.
I've never
Filthy.
listened, but I know both of the hosts.
Filth. The topic can't be filthy. It's just filth. That's a good idea. I like that. Filth.
So we'll be ready to go, Eric. Don't worry.
I know the point I wanted to get to. For all of this and all the years that go into going to the Iowa caucuses, in reality, what people who are professionals in politics know, most people don't tune in until after Labor Day, the year of the election. Like, basically, when the World Series ends, those couple of weeks between the end of the World Series and the actual election for president is when professionals know now it matters. How people feel about your candidate now matters. Really hasn't mattered before. But now you have so many people who are activated so early and they never shut up and they convince themselves, everybody cares about it. Most Americans have not given the first thought to who they're going to vote for in November of next year. That's the truth. That's reality. That's not the reality of the way that the stories are given to you.
You know what would jumpstart Georgia, though, is if the Braves came home with the World Series next year.
Yeah.
That would jumpstart Georgia.
And we put Kelly Loeffler in there.
Kelly Loeffler, everybody be happy.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
She doesn't stop leaving me messages.
I'm Kelly Loeffler. I was wondering if you had my prescription ready.
I'm surprised.
I put it in a couple days ago, but I haven't heard a call back.
I'm surprised that one of our open micers haven't Kelly Loeffler.
Oh,
where does that come?
Oh,
hey, can I just predict it?
Now you started it. You started Hillary Cagle last year.
I did. I'm the reason Kemp is governor.
And people started using that. And remember, their campaign started using that talking point to distance themselves away from Hillary. Mm-hmm. So be careful with that because you might end up...
look, when you wield as much power and influence as I do, it can't, there are going to be some circumstances where there's fallout and it's negative. I can't control my power and my influence.
Eric, you're going to start a movement.
Hey.
Eric, if you do that, you're just going to get the Democrat voted in the primary.
By the way,
your listeners.
I started a movement before the show. I'm going to finish it.
Know your listeners. Know your listeners.
Know your listeners.
Know your listeners. Know your listeners. Know your listeners. Know your listen's.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
I'm Kelly Loeffler.
I'm a listener.
I have celiac disease, and I was hoping that this breaded chicken doesn't have any bread or gluten.
Because we're gonna go in there, we're gonna impeach them.
Know your listeners.
I love how gangster she says that.
Yeah, she said it in November of last year. Mm-hmm. But this is all about a phone call that Trump made in July. Okay, all right, that makes sense. I think it's going to come back. I think the Democrats feel like they're on a roll. But remember, they thought they were on a Mueller roll. Remember, you get all these panels on CNN. Oh, he's definitely.
I love a Muller roll around Christmas time.
Man.
The whole house smells amazing.
And you got the hot chocolate with the cinnamon stick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and a hot Muller roll on Christmas Eve.
Here's the problem with people in the South. They don't know the fun. It does get cold sometimes. But they don't know the fun of being young and making out after when it's freezing cold outside and you come inside and you do the whole hot chocolate thing. It's a whole different thing.
Did you say making out?
Yeah, making out, like having fun, like a kid. I'm having fun, like when you're 17, 18 years old. And when you come inside from really cold winter weather, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. And then like everything, you've got like 19 layers that have to come off before the fun begins.
It's too much work.
And then somehow, and this
No,
is
you get to
really,
peel 'em
this
off
is
one by one.
wildly erotic, her nose is still cold.
Oh,
After all that.
when it goes into those warm places.
No, I was just talking about being a teenager making out.
Put your cold nose
No,
here.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but what happens? So the problem though with that is that if you have
The
so
pretty
many
girls and they're all muffled up, there's something wonderful
But
about that.
who's to say with so many layers, Eric? Let me offer an alternative perspective.
Yes.
If there's so many layers, who's to say that you don't say something stupid in like layer 2 that ruins the whole thing, right?
Well,
in the
that's
summertime,
true.
it's only one layer,
No,
so
you
so it's
learn-
less likely for
you
you to say
learn-
something stupid.
You learn at a young age not to say anything stupid till you get to
That's
the
why
last
people
layer.
in colder weather are more tough.
Yeah,
They
are
have more
tough?
grit.
Are you the
Yeah.
grammar lady? More tough?
Tougher?
Yeah,
People
tougher.
are suffering. People are dying.
With cold noses.
Yeah. Their
Am I the only
noses
one
are
who's turned
running.
on- I'm turned on by a cold nose. Isn't that weird?
A little
No,
bit.
it's sweet. I
Gets
love
everything else
cold
to go.
weather.
Yeah, cold weather's fantastic. Gets everything going.
So much better.
I don't like
Than
that.
just being hot and
Jared
sweaty.
likes the summer.
Your
Jared likes
shirt
the-
is sticking to
Summer's
your back because
amazing.
you're sweating.
I like to go hunt and fish.
No,
you
summer
can't
is
go
great when
hunting
you
in
have
summer.
a body of water to cool off in or something, but otherwise it's
but you
just
get the
annoying and hot.
long days. I mean, it's right now, like the sun
More
comes
time
up
to
at,
drink. Is that what it comes to you?
The sun
More time
comes
to
up at
drink.
like, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning now, and then it goes down at 5. It's depressing how short the days are.
I don't
No,
hunt
I
or
love
fish.
it.
You can just start drinking at night. It's okay. Just
Yeah,
keep
but
drinking.
you feel, are we nocturnal animals? We're not. We're people of the day like that. I
The
like
sun goes down at 4, so it makes sense. What are we not talking about?
I like when the
People of
sun
the day.
rises at 6 and then goes and then sets at 9 o'clock
But
at night.
Jared,
I-
what about in the dead heat of the summer?
Love it.
When you go out to your baking car, the heat is radiating off of the ground, the asphalt.
I love
and
it.
then you
I'd
get
rather
your
be-
hot car.
I'd rather be sweating any day than having to defrost the windshield of my car
That's a
on a
pain.
freezing
I
cold
gotta
day
tell you this,
where
though.
you're in the
You go
car
out
and
there,
you're like,
you go out there 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
You start the
no,
thing, you
that's
put
That's
awful.
a pain.
You don't have to deal with that though.
I used to have to. I mean,
shivering in the car?
When you think about it too much, I used to remember when in the early '90s, the last time I lived in that, and had the worst winter. I mean, it was so Arctic. It was the last winter that I lived all the way through was so bad. I would open my door, and within a nanosecond, every hair in my nose was frozen. I mean, it was just Canadian
No, listen, I'm not
Arctic
talking
air.
about the
No,
extremes.
No, I know, but this is what comes with it. And that year, there was so much snow that I would have to not only go out and start my car 15 minutes before I was going to leave, I would have to take my broom and get all the, because there's it's like 7 inches up on the
It's
roof of the
dangerous
car.
if you don't do that.
Huh?
It's dangerous to the cars behind you. if you
I
do
don't
that.
care about them.
I
Let
don't
'em-
use turn
let 'em
signals
die.
or brake. I smash out all my brake
I'm
lights. Who
very
cares?
good. I was always very good. I'd get all that off. Any snow that was around my brake lights, for instance, anything like that, I would get that off. It was very safe. But it is kind of a pain when you're sweeping your car
Yeah, but
before
then
you can leave.
Then you come back inside and you make out with your significant other with your cold nose.
Yeah, but she's got a cold nose. She's been in there all night.
Yeah, but you put your cold nose.
Oh,
somewhere.
I'm bringing in the
She
cold
likes
nose.
it. She likes.
She likes the cold nose.
Put it in my.
How about that? Jim it. Do it.
Zip.
So anytime you do anything that I don't like, I'm going to call you.
Stick your cold nose in my. This is racist.
This is racist.
You should say the "Oh my God" one.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Oh, yeah, we got it all for you, folks.
that blonde hair floating around.
What a wacky week.
You think it's been a wacky week?
Yes.
Doesn't it feel like Friday today?
Everybody's being
It does
nice
feel
to
like
me. I
Friday.
got a feeling our show is just starting to explode.
You think so?
Because people are just being so nice to me.
Or the end is near.
Nah, I know that one.
Did you, did you see November?
I know. People are like being really super. I'm almost getting to the point where I'm getting a little shy. Like I'm.
What?
Oh, like a little humble. Like,
no.
no.
Yeah, guys, I know, but come on.
Yeah.
I start sounding like Jared. Come on,
Yeah, come on, guys.
I know it's the greatest show of all time. Yeah. Do a great show today, sick. Imagine if I had come in with healthy. This show would have been.
Sometimes if you're healthy, it's a little bit more dangerous, though, because if you're sick,
true.
at least
The audience
you're
doesn't
backed off a
understand you,
little bit.
Eric.
Sometimes
when
I'm
you're-
too
when you're-
healthy. I find the show is really racist. That lady likes it when I'm sick. What kind of human being sounds like that?
A drunk young
You know,
girl.
Greg Russ once said to me, like, have you ever been in a situation like, say, Christina? This is all girls, including Autumn.
Okay.
So the situation
She's a
is
woman.
It's woman, girl, thing, whatever.
Lover.
The
Sister.
women.
Brother.
You ever been in that situation where Christina goes out with her gal friends and they get drunk, right?
Yeah.
And then let's say they don't, like 2 or 3 of them, like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, they all come stumbling into the apartment or whatever you live in.
Okay. Condo.
And a condo, excuse me.
Yeah.
Always really loud, screaming. And Greg Russ was the one who said, honestly, if you just look the other way, it sounds like a bunch of squealing pigs when girlfriends get together.
Well, I always think
why
about
do women do that? Like their voices go up, they're just like.
Well, yeah, that was my thing about like girls on spring break. They all make the same sounds like woo! Woo! They're flashing you. They all hit that same note.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't understand, and maybe Autumn, you could explain this a little better, is you may have seen somebody yesterday at work or whether it was in college, and you would go on spring break and you saw them on Thursday, right? And then your vacation started on Saturday for spring break, right? And it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my God.
Well, you're just first you've already
drunk, alcohol.
Yeah, you're already drunk, and then you see someone you didn't expect. Like, oh my God, what are you doing here?
What's that story? It reminds me of that story that when you were an intern for the other show that I was on. What was that called? The Other Guys.
Yeah.
The Good Guys, as Howard Stern once referred to them. The Good Guys. So when you were an intern, you went on a trip that I didn't go on. My father-in-law had died right at the time. It was a trip with listeners, and where was it?
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
There were no listeners. It was just.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a radio thing.
Okay, so I know there was a lot of other backstage stuff that happened. I don't want to know about that, but I want to know about you. You were like 19 or 20. And there was some girl,
19,
we don't have to say who she was with. I think we can figure it out. But there was a girl there who was kind of like a shooter girl, right? Like a Hooters girl type. Was she a stripper? Oh, she was a stripper. Okay.
Yeah.
And you, as a 20-year-old, you just told me this story once where you were starting to see how she was, and then something happened that made you go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You thought she was like really cool, right?
We were dancing. We found this weird club at this all-inclusive resort where we were. And we went over, we were dancing, and she was ordering shots, and I didn't know what to do. I was 20 years old, you know. And we were doing shots of Grand Marnier, which was horrible. And then...
You're at the club?
Yeah, okay. I was like... So we're dancing. She's a stripper, so she's dancing like sexy with me, and I was like, okay.
Hey, this is kind of cool.
Where's this going?
Yeah.
I didn't expect my night to get like this. And then we go over and we sit down in the corner, and I look around or whatever, and I turn around and I see her, and I just see her from behind, and she has like a pint glass in her hand, and she's vomiting into it.
So you went wow, she's really cool. Oh.
I was like, oh, girl. God. So it looked like it was like a peach milkshake.
Oh, nice.
And then she was so drunk, and then she didn't know where I didn't know where her and the other person on the show's room was. And so she was like ordering a cheeseburger at the thing. She's like, "Where is my cheeseburger?" Like she had lost it. And then she was stumbling around, and I was like, "I don't know where your room is." You know.
So you ended up babysitting her.
Nothing will sober you up quicker too. Is when somebody else is too drunk, and you're like, "All right, great. Guess the night's ruined now."
Not me. I just leave him over to the side.
Oh, that's
the other nights got
best
more,
way to handle
It's
it.
like going out with Leo Mazzoni. Just leave him at the ballpark.
The other nights got more like penthouse forum-y.
The what? The other night? The what?
The other night.
Oh, really? Was there a night where I never thought this would happen to me, but
well,
I don't know
more
this
like...
story. I feel danger. This is danger.
No,
Did
it's
somebody
all
try
right.
to get you in a threesome?
No, it wasn't like that. It was me and a girl who ended up being a Playboy model.
Oh,
and
I know
then the
that
stripper.
girl.
Yeah, and the stripper. So we were all real drunk in a hot tub, and all the guys were with us, and they like wouldn't get in the hot tub. They were like wussy, wouldn't come in with us.
Really?
Yeah, and so we were like
Being
hanging
playful?
out, laughing, and being like. I mean, it was especially from a guy's point of view. It'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
let me remember exactly what's happening here. Because the two girls had fake boobs and I didn't, so they wanted to feel like your original boobs.
Oh no!
So they were just feeling that.
Oh wow!
And I was like, "Can I feel yours?" You know, and it wasn't sexual.
So you
it really
always
wasn't.
say that.
I know, but it wasn't
You
between the
always
three of
say
us.
that.
It wasn't.
Come on,
We were
one
like,
was,
it
one
was
was a
fun. It's like
stripper,
we
one
were-
was on her way to becoming a Playboy model.
I'm saying it was for the people around, maybe, but not for us. And so then we left them.
Was
We're
that
like,
the
"Get outta
intern
here."
at the time?
Was
'Cause
she an
there's two
intern?
Playboy models that came through that era.
There
But-
were?
Really?
Yeah, one was the intern, right?
No, the one who was at Greg's house and
Yeah,
sat.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh,
She's-
yeah.
She's now either married or still the significant
married.
other of somebody very, very high up in radio.
Good for her.
I think she's married.
Good for her.
But
Isn't it
anyway,
great?
so we
He put a
then
ring on
later.
that? He put a ring on that. Yeah, I guess he divorced
And
me.
then there was
he
this, like,
divorced me and he
waterfall.
married her.
There was
Yes.
this waterfall, and we were like, putting our.
Oh, hey,
Took
all
our
right.
tops off.
Well, but there's nothing sexual about it. I love
It
the way.
wasn't.
I love the way that
We're
Autumn,
girls, it's
I
different.
love the way
How
that
is it-
Autumn puts stuff like that. Here's the thing: how come girls get away with that? What if I told a story, and in the story it was me and Greg were in the hot, yeah, and we just took our clothes off, and we were. No woman would believe that there wasn't something sexual about that.
That's different. Men are more driven. Women aren't as driven toward that.
But you
And
don't
it
know those
wasn't-
other two. You don't know what their lifestyle is.
All right. Well, nothing.
For
There was
you.
nothing else. There was no progression from there. That's all it was. We were just like
Maybe to you.
we were like kids.
How do you know what the
and we
other
had
two?
boobs,
The other two may
and
have
that's
said.
all.
The other two may have said, hers are real. Let's get rid of her.
Yeah.
Let's dust her and go and have some good fake fun."
Yeah, she's totally blocking all the dudes.
No, they liked my real
Oh.
boobs.
All right, we're not supposed to be having a conversation like this. What is this?
Well, it was fun.
One topic?
Yeah.
Real boobs?
Filthy. Real boobs. That should be a topic. Is just fake boobs.
I hate them.
No.
I
Oh
hate
yeah.
'em.
Mm-mm.
But that's me. I think that I'm in the minority on that one.
Well, maybe like a good one, like a subtle fake boob.
I think only women who should get that is women who have to have surgical procedures that otherwise they would be left breastless. I don't think.
Sure.
I think that. I think you should have very little elective surgery in your life. Surgery is always a deal.
Yeah,
it's always
anytime
a
you
deal.
go under.
Kanye's
right?
mother she died. Some sort of cosmetic surgery that she didn't need. She was like 46 or 47 or something.
She got a little juice, right? She got a little money.
Yeah,
So she started using it to fix her body up.
I guess.
You don't need to do that.
I don't
But
know.
it made her feel better, Eric.
Yeah, when she's
Until
dead.
she died.
What if there's something? What if there were a surgery
died
that made
doing
you
what
feel
she
better?
loved.
If you were horribly disfigured, right? Look, you got a nose that's on upside down, and a doctor comes along and goes, "Hey, you know what? I can make your life a lot easier by turning that the right way." And yeah, sure, absolutely. That could even be seen as cosmetic, as long as you can breathe with your nose upside down. There's no reason, right? No, I'm not saying nothing. If you're disfigured in some way or whatever, in modern, but just the idea that. I just want my boobs to be bigger. I don't think that's worth getting an elective
But
surgery.
she doesn't feel confident.
Well, but she's alive. You have to be alive to feel confident.
Well,
Anytime. My only point is, anytime. Look, there's a lot of surgery every day.
Yeah.
But anytime you go under the knife, things could happen and you could lose your life no matter what. And so I say don't do it. It's like me and flying. I don't like flying. No, but I don't like flying, but I made a deal with myself a long time ago that it's never going to stop me from doing something that I need to do. But I won't fly frivolously.
Right.
I won't be like, oh, let's go.
Like I go jet set?
Not jet set or even just the whole, let's all go drinking in Charleston this weekend. I won't fly frivolously.
It's a fun life.
Because I think that's when it happens.
But you are based
when you
in
least
logic.
expect it.
And you know that driving is more dangerous than flying.
Of course I do. But I'm driving. I'm driving. I'm in control.
Yeah, but you're not in control of the people around you.
No, I'm not, but I'm a defensive driver. And I never go over 25 miles an hour.
Smart.
So the conclusion is that you would like to have your breasts enhanced.
I think that's what it'd come to, yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
I'm electing to have a larger breast.
And you're so skinny now, it'll look great.
Who else am I going to vote for? Oh, yeah, one of those skinny guys with the big boobs.
Nice.
They'll call me, I'll be like the male Dolly Parton. Bye.
Nipples at 10 and 2.
Know your listeners.